This video is about the quizzes that you'll be taking in this course. There are two kinds of quizzes. A sort of daily quiz we're going to call a section quiz because there's one for each section in the textbook that we cover. We'll be having some supplements as well, some supplementary materials for one or two concepts that are not covered in the textbook or not covered the way we really like to see them. Those supplements will also be considered sections, so you'll see one section quiz for each of those as well. The other type of quiz is a chapter quiz. Chapter quizzes occur just at the end of each chapter, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 5, and Chapter 6. Chapter quizzes are a little bit more rigorous. There will be a time limit on them. You'll only be able to try each of the questions a couple of times on a chapter quiz. The section quizzes are pretty laid back, I think, would be a good way to describe them. You'll only have 5 attempts per question, but once you've tried a question 4 or 5 times, you can try a different version of the question and still get full credit. Let me show you what I mean. I'm logged into my student account. I'm going to go to week 1, section 1.1, and I'm going to go down to the section quiz for section 1.1. Once I open the block, the quiz becomes visible, and I can click on the title of the quiz and begin the quiz. Notice this Use Late Pass link down here. Well, I don't need to use a late pass right now because I'm going to take this quiz well before it's due on July 2nd. But if I were running up against the deadline of July 2nd, I could simply use a late pass on this quiz to extend it 24 hours beyond the current deadline. You can use an unlimited number of late passes on one assignment, and you can use one for each assignment if you need to. There are a lot of different configurations. There are currently 100 late passes assigned to each student. If you need more, I'll certainly assign more. Now the assignment is due on July 3rd. Let's go ahead and take a look at the quiz. This purple instruction block will disappear once I start the quiz, once I click on some question other than the first question. When I click on question 2, you can see the purple box has disappeared. If I forget what the instructions are and I want to display them again, I can just click on the Show Intro Instructions block and they'll pop back up. Coming back up to question 1, my instructions here are to graph all of the given numbers on the number line below. The given numbers are 1, -5, 0, -4, 3, and -2. So let's begin, but I'm intentionally going to leave this problem incomplete and incorrect so that you can see what I mean by making 5 attempts. Let's plot the number 1 on the number line. You just draw on the white space here and a pencil will appear, and if you click on the 1, you can see there's a point at 1. The next one is -5, so let's go down here to -5. Notice that I'm being as accurate as I can. If I'm a little less than accurate, Walmart may jump to the nearest point, or it may jump to what it thinks is the nearest point instead of the one I actually wanted. I can move a point that's already in place by clicking on it and dragging. All right, there's 4 out of the 6 points plotted. Let's go ahead and submit. I've got 3 1/3 points, 3.3 points out of the 5 possible. So I know I've done something wrong. Let's go back and see if I can figure it out. So let's plot the point 3. Let's say I mistake that for -3, and the plot point -2. Let's just say that I misplace it. Okay, so if I submit that, I actually only got 2.8 out of the 5 on my last attempt, but notice that I kept in the gradebook the 3.3 I earned the first time. The reason for that is partly that I've been docked 10% for this attempt. Let's see if I can even get them all right now. This -3 should have been -2. What was the other one? The -4, let's see, 1, -5, 0, -4, 3, and -2. There shouldn't be a -1, so let's drag that away, and let's submit again. So before a penalty on the last attempt, I earned a 5 out of 5. That tells me that this answer is completely correct. However, I've only got 4 out of 5 points in my gradebook because I've attempted it more than one time, so I'm docked 10% for each attempt. If I want to try another similar question, I get different numbers, and as long as I do it correctly this time, I get 5 out of 5 in the gradebook. Sorry, 5 out of 5 on my last attempt, and now I have 5 out of 5 in my gradebook as well. So even if I get a question wrong, I can go back and try another similar question, which will give me different numbers. I'll be starting from scratch, and I can earn full credit on that question, even if I lost points the first few times I tried it. Let's try another one. I'm supposed to enter a fraction equivalent to 5 over 6. 5 over 6 itself is not an acceptable answer. In the video on the number line, I explained that you can write how many sixths as how many twelfths or how many 18ths. There are other ways to think about this. For now, I'm just going to write an equivalent fraction that I know is correct. And when I hit submit, I get 5 out of 5. So I can move on. I don't need to do this one again. If I wanted to, I could try another similar question. Let me go ahead and get this one wrong. And notice that although I got 0 points on the last attempt, I'm retaining my perfect score in the gradebook. So this is a really good way to practice. This should actually be 18. Okay, now my last score in the last attempt was 4 out of 5 because I made a mistake the first time and I made more than one attempt, so I lost 10%. However, I got this question right the very first time I tried it, so I'm retaining those full credit points. To rewrite 2/3 with a denominator of 12, well, I can put the denominator of 12 in. If I cut my number line up into twelfths instead of thirds, how many twelfths will I have gone when I've gone 2/3? Well, that turns out to be 8. Or if you're reading this from the textbook, you'll know that you can multiply the bottom by 4 to get 12, which means you can multiply the top by 4 to get 8. So this is the correct answer here. But again, I'm going to go ahead and get this one wrong. And I'm going to get it wrong several times here, because I want to show you what happens if you run out of attempts completely. That's my 3rd attempt, and I'm only allowed 5 attempts. This coming attempt is my 4th attempt, and here comes my 5th. Oh, look at this. Now that I've tried my 4th attempt, I get show answer buttons. I was right that the denominator should be 12, but the numerator should be 8. So let's go ahead and change it. I'll take a minute, and on some scratch paper, I'll try and figure out why the numerator is 8. Now I'll submit that, and I'll get 50%. Actually, I'm getting more than 50% because I was getting the denominator right each time. But I can get a minimum of 50% just clicking on the show answer buttons, getting the right answer to display, and then typing that in. The trick then is to try another similar question once you've figured it out, and this time try to get the answer correct, and you get all 5 out of 5. So even though you only get 5 attempts on each question, once you've figured out what the problem is, you can click on try another similar question, and you can reattempt that last question with different numbers and still get full credit. When you're finished with the quiz, click on this last link to see a summary of your scores. You'll see any questions not answered, the points that you've received on any questions that you did answer, and your overall score, 14 out of 40 in this case. You can then go back and reattempt the test on questions that can be improved, or you can reattempt the test on all questions. If you want more practice, try similar problems for all questions with less than perfect scores, or for the entire test. Either way, when you're done, click on Return to Course page to go back to the main page of the course. You may have to click on the Math 97 link if you're ready to go on to another block.